paper, like me and my team members, the Kaveti and the Atluri Dada guy. So these people, they helped us a lot to do the first paper actually. So getting those people help and learning from them a bit by bit, we were able to complete our paper like within 2 weeks, and we just submitted the paper in the starting of the October. So we got the review in the month of November 3rd something, and we just did some minor edits to the paper, and we submitted it immediately, and then we got it accepted within 2 weeks again. So in the span of like 1 to 2 months, we were able to complete one paper and submit it to the IEEE Access Q1 journal. So that is not like a simple thing for an master students actually, because we three were master students, and it's not a simple thing to do a paper in 1 to 2 months and submit it to a Q1 journal. So I think, I mean, since I was also new to the lab when I joined to the VCOM lab, I was new to everything, but we were able to do it with a very, very small knowledge. And I hope all of us can do that similar way, because I myself say that I had zero knowledge when I joined this lab regarding the risk topic or publishing a paper or just how to write a paper even. But as the time moves on and we get uh, I mean, we get experience with the people, so we learn the things. So once we learn the things, it gets easy for us to complete the papers and just to submit it to an uh, good journals. Like first paper we did in Q triple access, sorry, IEEE access, and the next papers we are planning it to move it on higher ranking journals like transaction and vehicular technologies. So likewise, once we get experienced, we get moved to the good journals, and we just improve our knowledge by doing this. So even the new guys are here, I take this opportunity as I just share my the first paper. Actually, we are a team of three students, like me and Kaveti Uma Maheshwari and Atluri Hemant. We all three did this paper. We submitted, as I told, we did just in span of 1 to 2 months uh, for for complete submission and airing the paper into the internet. So we just took like 1 to 2 months. That's it. So now I'll just share what we did in this research. So is the slideshow visible to everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is a Ray have something. Is it visible? The slideshow.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the title of our paper: the outage performance analysis of reconfigurable intelligent surfaces aided NOMA under the presence of hardware impairments. So these are just the authors, and these two are the IEEE members who helped us. One is Professor Du and one is Professor Lee from Korea. So we just see the keywords which we are going to use in this paper. One is reconfigure intelligence services risk, and non-orthogonal multiple access technique, orthogonal multiple access technique, outage performance, hardware impairments, and throughput. So let's start with the basic, like what is RIS? So RIS is a meta surface that is used to partially control the radio waves in a wireless communication medium. We all know that we can only send the waves into the air. That's like the radio waves. If you want to communicate something, we can only send the signal from base station to the receiver, from transmitter to the receiver, but we have no way to control that particular radio waves. So this concept RIS, it is like it enables us, partially enables us to control the propagation, the movement of radio signals from base station to the receiver, from transmitter to the receiver. So let's just see in a graphical way actually. So this is the transmission of signal. One is from base station to the user. So here, one second. So here you can see this is a base station and this is a receiver. So this is very ideal case, like there is no obstacles, there is no anything to object the signal. So there is no way the signal gets less strengthened. So when we come to the practical scenario, this is a practical scenario. So this is a base station and this is a receiver. So in the practical scenario, we have lot of obstacles like these kind of buildings, trees, or because of sunlight, the signal that is getting transmitted from base station, when it receives the signal in the receiver, the signal strength is getting uh, deteriorated, means the signal power is getting less. So here, for example, we submit the signal at 100% efficiency, but because of these kind of obstacles here, some of the signal is getting diverted to different possible ways. And while receiving the signal here, we only receive like 70% or 60% of the signal. So remaining all this is getting wasted because of this reflection. So I mean, not only reflection, because of it is getting diverted into different ways. So what happens when we include risk in this kind of scenarios? So here you can see the same signal, it is also transmitting to the wrist, and this particular wrist is trying to communicate with the mobile device. So for, you can also have a doubt like, so even though we involve the wrist, there may be an obstacle in this particular kind of direction. So any direction where the user can where the signal is getting transmitted to the user. So if this is a scenario, like the risks have elements like I told you, the meta surfaces. So here you can see the yellow boxes, right? So these are meta surfaces which can identify the position of the user. So it can be either here or here or here. So depending on the position of the user, the signal will be phase shifted, the angle of the signal will be diverted. For example, here the user is at this position, the angle will be like, for example, think this is 30 degrees. So when the user shifts to this position, maybe it can be 40 degrees, and when it uses shifts to this direction, it can be like 110 degrees. So depending on the position of the user, the wrist will adjust the phase shift and angle so that the maximum efficient signal will reach the user. So maximum possible way that there is no obstacles in between, the signal will be received at the user. So this is what the RIS actually does. So it is just,
Dạ dạ anh.
yeah. You have anything doubt kind?
Dạ dạ.
Yes, please go on.
Dạ dạ dạ. Dạ.
uh, okay, sorry. So what? So this is what actually RIS does. So we explain in a simple way. For example, take a mirror. So when we incident a light ray on the mirror, it just reflect it back according to the way which we turn the mirror. For example, if you put it directly straight like this, it if the light ray incident like this, it just reflects its back. So in the same way, if we turn it just like this, the incident light ray will reflect in this way. So in the same way, the wrist also works depending on the angle of the receiver. But here the scenario is, here the main point is receiver. So depending on the angle of the receiver, we turn the signal, we turn the angle of the signal. So that's what the wrist does, just reflect the signals we send from base station to the receiver. That's all. That is what the basic concept of wrist is. So we also told we have NOMA in this paper. So non-orthogonal multiple access technique. So what is the NOMA is like radio access technique in next generation wireless communications. So we already have some kind of multiple access techniques like OMA, orthogonal multiple access technique. In that we have OFDMA, so which is now being used for 5G communications. uh, so compared to OFDMA, NOMA offer various advantages such as enhanced spectrum efficiency, reduced latency, and massive connectivity. So the primary advantage of NOMA is serving multiple users at same time using same frequency, time, and space. So we just see this in a graphical way. So here we can see what happens is, so we have two users here. Here we have two users in the first picture, where the first here this one shows uh, OMA method, and this one, I mean, OMA technique, and the down one shows NOMA technique. So here we can see that the blue color means user one and green color is user two. What happening is, even though power level is different for them, different frequencies are being used. For example, think like this is from 0 to 5. So 0 to 5 user 1 is being transmitted, and from 5 to 10 user 2 is being transmitted. Again, to transmit user 1 we use 10 to 15, and then from 15 to 20. Likewise, alternative frequencies are being used in OMA technique, where it will take lot of time to transmit the signal. So when we come to the NOMA technique, it uses a power level, like depending on the position of the user, I mean the different users. For example, here user 1 and user 2 we have. For user 1, maybe it may be a longer distance. Here it is using more power level in the same frequency. For example, 0 to 5, it is using more power level to transfer to send signal from base station to the user, and in the same frequency it is also sending the signal to the user to using the less power. Maybe the user 2 is near to it, so it is using the less power to transmit the signal. But both of transmissions for user 1 and user 2, it is happening at the same time, in the same frequency, and in the same space. So that is what the basic concept of NOMA. Depending on the users, for example, here we can see in the second picture we have three users. So here also the frequency for at least two users is same. For example, here we have, this is user 3 and this is user 1. So differentiating the power levels for both users, it is transmitting at the same time with same frequency. So this is what the advantage of NOMA when compared to the OMA. So this technique we are going to apply in the risk concept. We are going risk concept we did in our paper. So even though we have some advantages like doing it in a faster, I mean the signal transmission faster way, we have some problems like data privacy and signal interferences. Like even though we are transmitting in a same frequency, we have to take consideration of data privacy and interference, because if such kind of things happen, the user will get disturbances while communication. So among those problems, we choose hardware impairments as one issue, which we are going to look in this paper. How, what will be the performance if there are hardware impairments on both transmitter side and the receiver side. So this is a system model we used for our paper. So here the base station transmits a signal to the RIS, and the RIS transmits a signal to one near user and one far user. So this is where the NOMA concepts come in. So at the same time, in the same frequency, depending on the power allocation, the signal will be transmitted to the near user and also to the far user. So let's just explain what this the denotations means. From transmitter we have one channel named HI. So there is only one signal that is being transmitted from base station to the RIS at one point of time in channel HI. So when it comes to the receiver side, so that is the user side, we have, like the NOMA concept say, it transmits minimum of two signals at same time. So one is for near user, that is denoted with GIN, and one is for far user denoted with GIF. So this is a basic system model we are going to use. So what will be the received signals at the near user is Y and U. So this is a received signal at the near user. So this is basically derived from the paper. We did lot of references from other papers, like 5 or 6 papers. When we refer, this can be the derived signal we take from the other papers. So Y and U is equals to summation of 1 to n hi e power j psi I gin of root of a1 pss1 plus root of a2 pss2 plus wn w plus n. So at the far user we have the similar kind of signals, but the GIN, so the channel for the near user and the far user is different. If you observe here, this is GIN and this is GIF, so that will be the change here. So the channels will change when we compare to the YNU and YFU, so the near user and far user received signals. So let's just see what these parameters all are. So the A1 and A2 power allocation for NU and FU. As I said, in NOMA, depending on the power allocation, it transmits a signal in one frequency. So A1 and A2 are the power allocations for NU and FU. So NU and FU are near user and far user. So throughout the paper, we write near user and far user as NU and FU. So A1 and A2 are power allocations. S1 and S2 are superimposed target signals at NU and FU. So those are the signals which are received at NU and FU. So superimposed signals. And PS is the transmit power at the base station. And psi I is the adjustable phase induced by ith reflecting element. As if you observe the RIS here, we have these yellow boxes I told you as elements. So in one RIS we might have n elements, so n number of reflecting surfaces. So when you take psi I here is adjustable phase, in the sense it is the angle adjusted by the reflecting element n according to the position of the user, like I said in this figures. One second. So this figures here, the angle of the user is changing. So the psi I is the angle being adjusted according to the user or position of the user. So that is psi I. So n is additive wise Gaussian noise. So whenever a signal is transmitted from one point to the another point, there will be a noise uh, which will be produced by the nature itself. So it may be a sunlight or maybe any other thing. The noise will uh, obviously be in the signal when it's transmitted from one point to the another point. So that noise we consider as n. So that's not in this scenario we consider it as white Gaussian noise, and W are the hardware noise terms. So KT and KR, these are the impairments, hardware impairments. These the W is denoted as hardware impairments. So to ease the now we are going to compute these signals to analyze what will be the performance of the system. So to make it further easier, we take hi and gin summation equal to a, and in the far user we take it as b. So at nu we consider far user noise signal.
Arjun, can you
Yeah,
explain what is HI and big N?
yeah. So here you see the, so HI is a
Oh,
channel from base
channel
station to the RIS,
to
and
the risk.
GIN and GIF. Clear?
Uh, okay, and the big N is the element of risk
Yeah,
itself.
big N is the element. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Big N is like the number of RIS in the. So okay, let me make it more clear. So if in the paper anywhere you find it like this, wait a minute. In the paper anywhere you find it GIN and like this GIN. So this means that is channel. So in the paper anywhere you find it only capital N like this, only N. So that is number of elements. Okay, so that is this, the number of elements in the RIS,
Okay.
N. But GIN is a channel. Okay, GIN indicates channel for the near user from RIS. Okay,
Okay.
so let me continue. At the near user, we consider far user as the noise signal. So we derive the signal to the noise distortion ratio. So in the near user, we when it is transmitting for the near user, we also face the noise from the far user. So noise from here. So if we consider that kind of scenario, this is a SNDR. So we have signal to noise ratio is actually signal to the noise ratio. I mean the received signal and the noise. So when we compute that, we get this equation. So modulus of A2 by PS divided by modulus of A KT square plus KR square. So this is the hardware impairments. This one. So this is hardware impairments which we are mainly concentrating in this paper. So as I told you, here we have the hardware noise terms KT and KR. This is where it comes into the picture. So hardware noise terms plus PS plus N0 plus modulus of A1 by PS, A1 PS. So rho S is the SNR, signal to noise ratio, as I told, signal to the noise. So here we have PS and N0. We change it into rho S, and after further computations, we write it as modulus of A square A2 divided by modulus of A square KT square plus KR square plus 1 by rho S plus modulus of A square A1. So A2 and A1 are power coefficients for in NOMA. So the main concept is we are changing from PS by N naught to rho S. The complete equation, we are trying to eliminate this, this, and we are trying to put rho S. So for if you do the mathematical computations, you get the final expression for SNDR at S2. S2 in the sense we have far user interference. So I mean noise interference, we get this signal. So by performing successive interference cancellation, so SIC, we can eliminate FU noise and obtain SNDR at NU as follows. This one. So performing the SIC, successive interference cancellation, we can obtain SNDR at NU as like this. So in this, we eliminate A2 because A2 is the power coefficient at far user. I have mentioned it in the table here. So A2 is a power allocation coefficient for far user. So when we eliminate uh, far user interference, we remove A2 from this, and then which can be rewritten as S1. I mean, sorry, like this A1. So at the end of this computation, we will have at near user, we will have two signals. So one is S1 without interference, this one without interference from the far user, and another one is S2 that is with interference from the far user. So the performance analysis of this user, we calculated okay, we calculated the outage probability, we can calculate by multiplying the output of S1 and S2. So the output we get using S1 and S2, when we multiply both that signals, we get the output for the near user. Okay. So next at far U, there is no interference from NU. So using this, so this equation is for the far user. This one will not have any interference from the near user, because by the time that far user receives a signal, near user signal would have already been reached. So there has no way to create an interference for the far user from near user. So far user does not have any interference from NU. So the equation is like this. So if we observe carefully, the far user S2, this equation is similar to the near user S2. So here we have A2 and A1, modulus of A square A2 KT square plus KR square plus 1 by rho S modulus of A square A1. So when we take the far user equation, so modulus of B square A2 divided by modulus of B square KT square plus KR square plus 1 by rho S plus modulus of B square A1. So the only thing changes here is the channel B, this one. So what this one says is, for us it is easy to compute the coming signals, like the coming calculations, the far user signal and the near user signal S2 both are similar. So the similar mathematical computations will be there. We can understand from this point. So the performance analysis of system, outage probability. So in this paper uh, we calculate the performance using the outage probability. So it can be defined in many ways according to the requirements, such as data rate information and power level and so on. So depending on the way we are calculating the outage probability, it can be defined according to that. But in our scenario, we defined it as the probability of SNDR, the signal to noise distortion ratio, less than to the SNDR threshold. So mathematical way, this is it. So the probability of SNDR less than or equal to rho TH is a outage probability. So outage probability of at NU, we have two signals, as I told. We have S1 and S2. One is with interference from far user and another is no interference from the far user. We write the outage probability equation like this. So probability of NU S1 less than or equal to threshold 1 and NU S2 less than or equal to threshold 2. So as I told you, at the end, this one we multiply S1 into S2. So at the end, we do for this only for the near user, not for the far user, only for the near user. So in this, we have a rho TH1 and rho TH2 are SNDR thresholds of the user NU and FU. So what is SNDR threshold is the maximum point the SNDR value can reach. So the SNDR is signal to noise distortion ratio. So the SNDR thresholds are the maximum value the SNDR can reach. So this one, this is SNDR for the near user S1 and SNDR for near user S2. So here it indicates less than or equal to rho TH1. So this means this is a threshold, like more than this value, this one cannot go. So more than the rho TH1, this value cannot increase. So it is like a limit for the signal, for the transferring, for the signal transmitting. So this is a limit. So basically, in technical words, we say it as threshold of the users NU and FU, and R1 and R2 are target rates at NU and FU. So the rho TH value, one second. So this is the rho TH value 1, 2 power 2 R1 minus 1, and rho TH is equals to 2 power 2 R2 minus 1. So we break down P out into two parts and calculate. So we break this into two parts. Like I'll just show. Here we write it as probability of SNDR S1 less than or equal to rho TH1 and probability of SNDR S2 less than rho TH2, and we calculate them separately. And there is a reason why we do that. I'll tell that in the next coming slides. So this is at NU. This is for rho TH2. So for this scenario, NU S2 less than or equal to rho TH2. First we are calculating this one. So this is the equation we derived from. This is SNDR equation. If you observe the slide, so this is the SNDR equation we derived from the received signals. So this one we apply it here. So SNDR is less than or equal to rho TH2, and we need to form this equation in a manner that probability of modulus of A square less than or equal to remaining terms. So how we do that is we just shift the variables using the mathematical calculations. Just if you observe these equations carefully, you'll understand. So this is the final way we have to change this equation. So probability of channels less than or equal to remaining variables. So here we have the square, we send the square to the other side, we make it true. So why we does, I mean, why particularly we want to change into this way? Because A is channel. Like I told you, to ease the computations, we have written summation of I equal to 1 to n HIGIN as A. So that is channels. So when we write it as channels, we can change it into cumulative distributive function, CDF, which is uh, outage probability. The CDF of any equation we does is the outage probability. So the outage performance. So we call f of x as cumulative distributive function of variable x. Then a4 is written, I mean this equation is written as fa of a less than or equal to this parameters. So once we have the fa, we can write it as like this. The CDF of x, I mean fa of x can be written it as like this. We have a book called Integrals Series and Mathematical Comedy. In that, if you refer that book, we can get the output for this, which will be like this. So we change it in this way. This is just we see the equation in one book and we write that equation as here. So a mathematical computation ends here and we just write it in this way using the equation already defined in a mathematics book. That's all. So
What is CDF actually?
CDF is cumulative distributive function. It is
Uh-huh.
a it is how can I say like that? For example, um, uh, we have this equation, right? One second. Yeah, this one. So nu s1 less than or equal to rotation. So
Mhm.
let's take an dice concept, probability of dice. Uh,
Okay.
so when you roll a dice,
Okay.
uh, the maximum number of output limit is 6. So in the
Right.
denominator we write 6,
Uh-huh.
and the chance of getting any one number is 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the cumulative distributive function is the probability of getting a number less than 5. So, so less than 5, we have, we can either get 1 by 6, 2 by 6, 3 by 6, or 4 by 6.
Okay. Okay.
So all this probability is only 1 by 6. Like for 2, we have only 1 by 6. For 3, we have the probability of only 1 by
One
6. I
by
mean,
six.
getting the number 3.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so
Uh-huh.
the cumulative distributive function is adding all those probabilities.
Oh,
So
okay.
to get the number less than 5, we have 4 probabilities and we are
Four.
adding all those 4, like 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6.
Yes.
So that is the cumulative distributive function, like adding all the possibilities less than that value. So here I told
Oh, okay.
the rho th1 is threshold value, the maximum limit. So
Mhm.
psi nu s1 is, and for example rho th I take like 10 decibels. So until 10 decibels, what are the values we get in this channel of SNDR S1? So in SNDR S1 until 10 decibels, what is the transmitted signal? So we add all those signals and we get one value. So that value we plot in the graph. You understood?
Okay. Okay. I understand.
So, so that is a cumulative distributive function. We can we write this as fa of x. So how we write this is we already have the uh, this probability and gamma functions in one book called uh, series integrals and mathematical computations. So in that book we already have a formula to how in a way we can rewrite this one in this way. So fa of x is equals to gamma of a plus 1 gamma x by b divided by gamma of 1 plus a. So this x, we assume this one, root a2 divided by root a1 plus kt square plus kr square plus rho th. So then we have a is equals to k1 square by k2. So this k1 and k2 are not hardware impairments. So hardware impairments are kt and kr. So here the k1 and k2 are these values. So k1 is n pi by 2, k2 is 4n into 1 minus pi square by 16. And this a and b are derived from this k1 and k2. So we can rewrite this as P naught is equals to gamma of. So we substitute all those values in this equation. So this is for SNDR S2. So for SNDR S1, this is a mathematical computation. So similar, till now what we have done, we just change it into the a less than remaining parameters, and we write the CDF of that function, which finally we get this value. So to compare this both, like what is the difference between S1 and S2? As I told you before, in S1 we don't have far user interference. That means we will not have the A2 in this equation. Only we'll have only A1, the power coefficient for the near user. So just for clarity, this one here we can observe we have A2 and A1. So here we have signal interference from far user, and when we come to the next equation, we don't have the signal interference. That means it is S1. So outage probability at Nu, as I told, we are finally multiplying S1 and S2. So these are the equations, P0 into P1. So P0 is the interference signal from far user, and P1 is no interference from the far user. So this is the final equation we are going to simulate. So let's just see the numerical analysis for the near user till what we discussed now. So we will set the hardware impairments KT and KR of K equal to 0.1. We put all same, I mean the hardware impairment same. Reason is we want to do the fair comparison between the transmitter and the receiver. So we just take them equal, and the power coefficients A1, I mean for the near user we take 0.3 because it is near. We just need the less power, and A2 we take 0.7 because it is far. When even in the name we have the near user and far user. The near user requires less power to transmit, and far user requires more power to transmit. So we take 0.7. We can also change them like 0.4 and 0.6, but the condition here is it should always be A1 less than A2. So whatever the values you take for A1 and A2 should always be A1 less than A2. A1 should never be more than A2 because A1 is near. So only less power should be allocated for the near user. And these are the threshold values and the rate. Target rates also we define it as 1 BPS per Hz because of the fair comparison. So unless we mention separately, there is no changes for this simulation. So this is for the near user. As first, let me explain the diagram. So here we have the threshold value, rho th. One is for 0, one is for 10, and one is for 15. And the number of elements we make it as 1, 10, and 100. So the number of reflecting surfaces on the wrist. One scenario is only one meta surface, and the second scenario is 10 meta surfaces, and the third scenario is 100 meta surfaces. So for the 0, we have 0 as diamond, 10 as square, and 15 as circle. So for the 0, here this is the output. So here you can see this is for n is equals to 1. For 0 is like, it is like ideal cases. 0 is like ideal case, less than 0. So this is the situation. And for the 10 here, and for the 100 it is in this line. This is the line for the 100, and when it comes to the 10, this is a 10, and in 10 it is rho th equal 10, this one, and in for 100 this is this one. So from this diagram we can say that the performance of the system is increasing when the number of RISC elements are increased. For example, for n is equals to 1, this is a maximum signal. But when we take n is equals to 100 here, so in a simple way, by seeing the graph, we can say that if it is less, I mean the signal here it is decreasing, then the performance of the system is more. So when it is decreasing is we have n is equals to 100, the number of elements when we have n is equals to 100, the performance is good. So that one we can say, as n value increases, the system outage performance is efficient. As a benchmark, the outage performance of NOMA dual hop relaying system without risk. So when there is a situation no risk is there, shows the worst outage performance in the case of n equal to 1. Basing the diversity order found in the coming slides, we also find the diversity order of this system. It shows that the performance depends on the number of risk metasurfaces and not the level of hardware impairments. So this is we consider the perfect hardware impairment k equal to 0. So we in this paper we are mainly concentrating on hardware impairment. So in this scenario we consider hardware impairment as 0.1. So when we come to the another scenario, we take three cases where one is 0, one is 0.1 and one is 0.2. So wherever the circle is there, that is 0.2, and wherever the diamond is there, that is 0, 0, and wherever the square is there, that is 0.1. So, and we also take like 5 different cases of risk elements. One is n equal to 1, 2, 5, 10, and 100. So we consider the perfect hardware impairment k equals 0 as benchmark. So when k equal to 0, there is no hardware impairment. I mean, both sides, the systems are perfect. So that is the best outage performance can be observed for the ideal case in which both transmitter and receiver does not experience the impact of hardware impairments. So when k is equals to 0, here we have this one diamond, the first line in every scenario, like n equal to 1, n is equals to 5, 10 and 100, it is showing the outage performance best because there is no hardware impairments at all. So but in our case, in the practical case, we are considering two more cases where 0.1 and 0.2. So in that, moreover, the observe that the independent of rho s and k degraded trends on the outage performance can be observed if we increase the rho th. It is worth noting that the importance of accurately modeling the transmitter and receiver's hardware imperfection when evaluating the performance of RISC-assisted NOMA systems. Moreover, we observe that the impact of hardware imperfections become more severe when we increase the rho th. Similar trends of outage performance of user NU can be seen when we change the values of n. So as I told, for changing the different values of n, we can see that the performance is getting changed, and for the different values of rho th also we have seen here the performance is changing. So for the far user, this is SNDR expression we have calculated in the previous slides. So as I told you that SNDR signal 2 and SNDR at far user both are similar. So in that scenario, we have the similar kind of mathematical computations, and we get the output like this. We just change it to the less than or equal to, a less than or equal to remaining parameters, and we find out the CDF, and then we change it to the probability equation, which finally changes to the gamma equation in this way. So this is the final equation we get for the far user. So when we simulate this, we get the output like this. Like just we can see the variations of outage probability for user FU. Similarly, case of n equal to 100 exhibits significant improvement of outage performance at far user. Big gap of outage probability when we change the number of metasurfaces from n equal to 1 to 10. The reason is higher number of metasurfaces contribute to improve SNDR, then the corresponding outage probability can be enhanced. In other words, we observe that the impact of threshold on risk normalizer would be significant concern at the following two scenarios, n equal to 10 and 100. So the overall it is saying the what it means is when we change the values from n equal to 1 to 10 and 1 to 10 to 100, the performance is getting better when we compare it to the difference between 1 to 10 and 10 to 100. So uh, the main uh, the main thing to notice here is the number of risk elements plays a major role when we compare the performance of the system at the both users, like the near user and far user. So when we compare this both near user and far user, we have concluded that the near user has a much better performance when we compare to the far user, because as a near user we know that the signal is getting much stronger when we compare to the far user in the NOMA also. So the diversity order, so here you can see the diversity order of NU. P out of NU is S1 and S2 we have calculated before. So the outage probability of the near user, this one we get the final output as like this. So root of a1 a2 divided by 256 n square divided by 4. This one indicates is the diversity order only depends on the power level and the number of risk elements, not on the hardware impairment. It has nothing to do with the hardware impairments. So the far user also same, it depends on root of a2 pi square divided by a1 16 minus pi square n by 4. So this is also similar, same, only depends on a2 and a1 and not on hardware impairments. So the throughput of the system is like the performance of the entire system. Like till now we have seen like near user and far user and comparison between the far user, but we also have to check how is the performance of the uh, total system, which means the throughput. So the throughput formula is target rate into 1 minus p out of nu plus target rate at far user into 1 minus p out of fu. So this is the performance of the system. So here also it indicates that the number of risk elements plays a major role when we compare it, like major role when the performance is being compared to the each I mean sorry, the number of risk elements, they play a very major role when we compare it to the different number of risk elements. Like for example, when we compare it to the 1 and 10, the performance of 10 is better, and when we compare to the 10 and 100, the performance of 100 is better at all three levels when we compare 0, 10 and 15. And here, as we denoted, the hardware impairments is 0.1. So in this scenario, this is the case, like when we have 100 risk elements, the at these threshold values, the performance of the system is better for n is equals to 100. Can be explained that such throughput depends on the achieved outage probabilities in previous step. It can be better confirmed that the our risk system relying on NOMA is better than that of using NOMA. So when we compare it to the NOMA system, this NOMA system is better in the terms of performance, even though we have the hardware impairments. The paper, at the conclusion in paper, we have generalized the hardware imperfection system model in RISC system at both transmitter and receiver in context of NOMA, derived simple closed form expression to the evaluation of outage performance and throughput. Throughout the simulations, the number of metasurfaces at risk as well as transit SNR at base station and SNDR threshold are determined as main factors make influence on the outage probability. Our results manifested that detrimental impact of the transient hardware imperfections on the outage and throughput performance of these systems. It can be concluded that main results are relying on the importance of accurately modeling the level of hardware impairments when evaluating the performance of our considered systems as reported. And I end my presentation with this. So these are the authors. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Very impressive